Ready? Welcome back to another episode of the Hustle Muscle Podcast. I am your host, Chris Graham, a.k.a. The Hustle.
And I am your co-host, The Muscle, Kristen Graham.
A.k.a. my co-host. So we want to give a quick shout out to our sponsors to make this channel possible. We'll start quickly with...
First and foremost, Blackstone Labs. Hell yes. Tough Wraps. Thank you so much. Fit Fine Wine.
The ones that normally keep us fully alcoholic.
Hydrated.
Yeah. And
if
also...
you will. Island Bar in Surfside.
Yeah, so our friends at Island Bar in Surfside, South Carolina, Brandon and Cynthia Bushaw, took us out for your birthday.
Yes.
45th birthday. Congratulations.
You're such a dick.
Took us out for her birthday. We had a beautiful time tonight. Drank way too much, and they knew we had this podcast tonight, and they tried to tempt us. And
guys, I'm not 46. I just want to clarify that.
Right.
Everybody sit down.
So anyway, we had... plenty of beverages.
So we're switching to water, and we're going to handle the podcast like bosses.
So huge shout out to our guest tonight.
Yes. Oh my God, guys. I'm so excited. He's from New Jersey.
Yeah. Jersey in the house.
We left Jersey, but we're bringing Jersey back.
Yeah.
You ready for this?
Jersey. Yeah, I am. I don't, let's let him introduce himself because I don't want to ever introduce somebody. So.
Okay. Because I took a deep breath and I was going to say his name, but
I would say IFBB pro bodybuilder.
Yes.
Looks similar to me. I would say this guy looks very much like me.
His biceps are about half as double the size as mine.
All right, let's bring him in here. This poor guy's in the back. Like they're not even.
He's like, I'm out,
Mr. Guy Cisternino.
Mm-hmm.
What is going on?
How are you, sir? Thank you for joining us.
What's going on? Glad to be here.
We want to first of all say thank you for coming on and joining us tonight. Sure. I am excited because the next 6 hours of this interview, we have over 400 questions for you. It's going to be jam-packed. You're going to have a great time tonight. So, Guy, first of all, if somebody comes up to you and says like, "Hey, who are you?" How would you introduce yourself currently? Like as of right now, how do you introduce yourself to somebody?
No pressure. Like, who is Guy?
Who are you? I literally go, I'm a nobody.
Perfect. That's how we do the same exact thing.
Because it's like, or if somebody goes, "What do you do?" I just go, I either own my own business, or if like they push, I just say I'm a professional athlete and I leave it at that.
Do you ever have a tough time? And I'm going to ask this because she has a really bad. Do you ever have a tough time saying you're a professional athlete, or are you like at the point now you're just like
awkward thing in the entire world?
Amen. Thank you so much for saying that.
Because she won't do it, and I do it like for her.
I'm like, I own my own business, and Chris is like, tell people you're an athlete.
She'll be like, I like to work out, and I'm like, well,
like,
just say you're like a professional athlete.
You know when you have to fill out forms at like doctor's office, and it's like occupation. Like if I'm sitting there, like I've been times where I'm sitting there with like a girlfriend or a buddy, and I'm like, what do I put? And they're like, you put you're a pro bodybuilder. I'm like, no, I'm putting like absolutely not, because they're gonna be like,
I flip tires. Yeah, that's my job.
I feel like if people knew more of what I did and it was more mainstream, then maybe I would say it. But when it opens the door to 1,000 questions that I shouldn't have to answer if you followed bodybuilding.
Right.
You know, so it's like
I think when people when we try to talk about like strongman, because it's always hard to like introduce my wife as a professional strongman athlete because they automatically assume I'm married to a guy named Chuck. And so it's like when I'm like, she's a professional strongman athlete, they're like, well, what does that mean? She's like a bodybuilder. She's, you know, I'm like, no, I'm like, it's totally different from that. And I have to like I'm like, you ever watch guys back in like on CBS in the 80s, like lifting up trucks and tires? I'm like, that's what my wife does.
Right. Like I'm the girl that deadlifts guys' truck.
Yeah, it's confusing for all of us.
It doesn't look like a dude doing it.
Right, yeah.
Right. So, but I have a really cute sports bra on while I do it, and we're good.
Yeah.
Do you ever get people that are like, it's like you like jack chicks? So people think like because I bodybuild that like I'm into like girls that are like 250 pounds shredded without like, that's actually not what I like.
Well, people will come up to us and then they'll look at her and they're like, "You work out?" And I'm always over here like, "Motherfucker, like I work out too. Like I'm not as big, but like, yeah, we both work out." I'm like, and they just go to her like, "Oh, you like to work out?" And I'm like, "What about me?" Like,
because this is why. Ready? Because there's more guys that are in shape and not as many women that look like Kristen. So if a guy sees you both, they're like, "Oh, he fucking works out," but holy shit, I've never seen a girl look like that. And that's the difference. Is that she like there's not as many girls that look like her. Right. And there's a lot of guys that look like me and you.
Well, I wouldn't say me and you. I would never put us. Category. I appreciate that was the biggest compliment. Like I would never put me and you in the same. Never been in the
pro bodybuilder category.
Please don't put us in the same category ever again.
I am not that big, bro. I'm a little 212.
I will say, for one thing, that you do have a magnificent beard.
Yes.
But that does lead to a question when it comes to bodybuilding. Your beard's
better. We can move on.
No. So, Christopher Luke, say from Blackstone. I don't know, and I never pretend to know a lot about bodybuilding. That's not the sport that I ever really knew much about. But with like Christopher Luke, I know he shaves his beard when he competes. Mm-hmm. And I've heard that, and I asked this question
deliberately. He deliberately shaves his beard
right before he competes. And I've asked PJ, I asked Chris, and all this, and they always say like, and I've heard it from PJ that he thinks, or there's like I guess it's like a rumor out there is that like shaving your beard might be better for bodybuilding, but you clearly don't. Like whenever I've seen you compete, we recently saw you on we were watching Netflix Generation Iron. You were on that, but you have a beard when you stand on stage. What's the deal with like having a beard versus not having a beard when you're actually competing in bodybuilding? It
depends on the show. So I think, I don't want to say like I started the beard trend, but like not a lot of guys really wore a beard on stage. Actually, if you watch that generation, if you watch the 2017 Arnold when Generation Iron did the, what is it called? The announcing, they actually said that like they've never really seen a guy with a beard like that on stage because like nobody really wears it, because not that it's frowned upon, but like I actually went in 2016 to the Olympia sponsored by a beard company, and they actually flew their crew out just to cut my beard. So I went to check-ins. My beard was like crazy. And then the next day I got the barbers came in my room, cut my beard, like it looked incredible.
Wow.
I went to the fucking to the meet and greet at the Olympia. Robin Chang comes up to me and he's like, "Looks much better. Get rid of it." Okay. I got to take, so all that, and I shaved it all off.
Really?
Wow.
Yeah. Because they say that it like distracts them from the physique, but depending upon the judges that you talk to, they'll be like, no, it's more like, okay, now, just like tattoos. Like now there's competitors covered in tattoos.
Right, and I see it with guys and girls, both. Like some girls, some guys, like tattoos.
Yep. Like if it was up to me, I would have a lot more tattoos than I have. But I got one tattoo and it cost me 3 surgeries. So that was that.
What do you mean it cost you? Like to get rid of it or?
No. I still have it. But I got this when I was 18. And my body rejected the ink, and I've had like 7 lymph nodes removed because of it.
Really?
Holy cow! I don't even know if I've heard that.
Twice.
Oh wow! I had no idea.
Wow.
Yeah, I got a scar under my arm, and then I just got surgery a couple of weeks ago. They actually took one out of my neck. I got a scar in the back of my neck.
And that you think is also because of the arm tattoo?
I don't even know. They got me nervous this time because it took almost 3 weeks to get my biopsy back because they said they had to send it out for like further testing, and I'm like, that's not good.
Wow.
It came back as negative, but the 2 other times I had it done, the doctor called me the first time, and he was like, the lymph node was the exact color of your ink. He goes, it was black. Wow. And then I went to get a second surgery years later, and the same thing. They removed 5, and they're like, they were all black. They're like, whatever ink they used back then, your body just rejected. So like I'm like very freaked out to get another tattoo because like I went through hell with the first one.
Yeah, I don't blame you.
Is that your only one on your arm? Yeah,
I wanted to get like a half sleeve done, like from here down.
Right. Maybe sit that out.
Sit that out.
Yeah, I know. I'll end up in like the ER for like 3 weeks. I'm good.
Yeah.
I scratched that on my bucket list.
All right, so let's go back to like childhood because like a lot of people that watch the channel and stuff always are interested in like,
who were you?
Yeah, like how did it all start? Like, were you always into fitness? Were you like into sports? Like, where did bodybuilding, like, how did that all happen?
I got forced to play football by my dad when I was in 3rd grade. And back I'm sure you remember. I mean, whether you played or not back then, they didn't have flag football. Like I started football from 3rd grade, like full pads. It was like you hit, you tackled, you ran, like you did everything. And I was like really sketched out because I was small. I graduated high school 165 pounds. Like I was a peanut. And as I started to progress in football, I realized that like I'm getting the shit kicked out of me on the field. And then as soon as I got into high school, I'm like, I got to do something about this. So I was like, I might not be like the biggest dude on the team. Like I got to do something to be strong. So I started training, ended up playing football in college, but ended up falling in love with training. So I found myself like putting more effort into the gym than I did onto the football field. And it was just not because I didn't love football, but I just absolutely loved being in the gym and being stronger than everybody and like being able to do things that other people couldn't, even though I couldn't do certain things on the football field like other guys. It was like, well, I got you here. And I got heavily bullied when I was young, like kindergarten through about, I would say freshman year of high school. I went to a private high school to play football because like they could recruit at private high schools, like a Catholic high school. So they recruited me to play and they moved me to like fucking quarterback my freshman year. And I'm like, I've never played quarterback in my life and I'm a midget. So I got really heavily bullied there too. And then went back to my public school. And then that's when like I really started like training hard. And then like I started on the varsity team and then like went to college, played ball, and then started training even more, did my first show. So it all kind of started from being too small and then being bullied. And I was like, I'm sick of all this shit.
Yeah, I was, and you're right. Like when I grew up, there was no flag football. We did Pop Warner. And
yeah,
I think all the way up through high school, there was never a flag football. That wasn't an option.
But you had to get bigger.
No, well, so I was somewhat in the same boat. Like you had to, like based on your age and your weight, you had to weigh a certain amount based on your age. And so when we got close to high school, eventually I had to stop playing because we're maybe 2 years out of high school, but I was way underweight and I weighed like 120 pounds and you had to weigh like 135 based on that age or whatever it was. And I was like 10 pounds underweight and I couldn't gain weight to save my life. And so eventually I had to stop playing like the year before high school. So like this age weight correlation happens. Yeah. And I think so when I graduated college, I went into the police academy. When I went into the police academy, I weighed 100, and I was probably 21 years old. I weighed 150 pounds on a good day.
That's like when I met you.
Yeah, and I graduated the police academy at 22 years old, and I was almost 6 foot tall. And I graduated the police academy at like 148 pounds. I lost weight. Yeah, and so like
I weighed more.
Yeah, like I couldn't gain weight. I would eat pancakes in the morning. Like my mom, like I lived at home. My mom made me pancakes. I would eat food all day long at the police academy. I come home, my mom was just making me food. I couldn't gain weight to save my life, like no matter what I did, and I would just keep losing weight. And they had in a police academy. If anybody out there watches Full Metal Jacket, it was similar to that. They had kids that were like maybe almost 30 years old, taking tons of testosterone that were like 5'8", 240 pounds, big juice heads. They sat at the fat body table. They would take their lunch away from them and they would give it to me. And like they had like the little kid table and I was at the skinny kid table. They would take the food away from the fat kids in the police academy, give it to the little kids, and we would eat their lunches because it was like, you guys are too big, you guys are too little. And it was like, yeah. And so I would eat like the big kids lunch, and the big kids were hungry on lunch recess. Like, hey, you ate all my food, I'm like, same team, bro. Yeah. So
you're fat. So sorry.
Yeah, exactly. And
so my question is, do you think your background in like football, do you think that the fact that you got into like bodybuilding and training like that, do you think that helped you or hurt you in like your football career?
It definitely helped. Okay. It helped in the fact that I was able to further my career in football, because if I didn't do that, I definitely wouldn't have went on to play in college. I would have just not been big enough. I would have just got the shit kicked out of me. The reason why
you got bigger and stronger.
Oh, I got bigger, stronger, and faster. Yeah, 100%.
Okay.
Yeah, I went from like I was in college my sophomore year. Like they give out awards. Like there was a couple of times I got like the hardest hit award, and I was one of the smallest kids on the team. But like I was strong. I had the strongest lift total. in my college year. I think it was college, so I was only like 20 my senior year, 21. But I squatted 550 at like 190 pounds. I did. I cleaned 330, and I was benching like 350, like nothing crazy, but like nobody squatted near what I did. Like nobody had a higher lift total. So like I just enjoyed that shit so much. I probably would have been a better power lifter, honestly.
But I love that. I feel like I heard those numbers on like PJ's podcast.
Yeah. I mean,
like
that's
Blackstone.
Like, yeah. I mean, now like my best numbers, like I've done 600 for reps in squats. Like I've done, I benched 450 for reps. Like, but then I had double shoulder surgery. So that kind of, some of that stuff stopped.
But
so
you came back.
I came back. Like I hit the 160s on the incline dumbbells last week. I haven't done that in years. So it's like coming back.
When you were younger, like in high school, college and stuff, did you have somebody that like guided you in like lifting, or was it just like, I'm going to just try to be as strong as I can? Or how did you learn how to like get stronger at that age?
I read, man. I had fucking every book, every magazine subscription. I was doing everything myself. Like there's guys at college that will like, they're like, man, and they say, and I get goosebumps thinking about it. Cause they're like, man, I remember after practice, you would go in the locker room, eat your fucking protein bar, change your outfit, and go right up to the weight room. And I'd be the only person in the weight room for like 2 hours.
And back then, I mean, because we're like similar in age, but like back then there wasn't like an iPhone. Like you didn't grab your phone and go on the phone. You didn't go on the internet.
Down and a book.
Yeah, it was like books, handwritten. Like you just wrote things or you read things in books. Like there wasn't like, let me just pull up my phone real fast and like just.
I still have a journal right here. Look, I'll show you. Right here. I can't do that iPhone like this. I don't do my workout. Well, actually, no, I have everything written down. I have every single journal from I only do it during competitions. Every show I've ever done, I have one of these with everything.
That's awesome.
Wow.
Like an old school composition book.
Yep. It has the date, what I trained, how much sleep I got, what like with the cardio in the morning. Then it does food, vitamins, supplements, food, training. It got at like 8:50 p.m., 11:35 p.m. Like it breaks down just so I know how I feel, what I trained. I don't forget things. So that goes everywhere with me, that book.
That's really cool. Because I feel like same thing with us was like, I'm very like, I write everything down. We worked out. It was like, we would write everything down. Like the day we worked out, exact same thing you just said. And it was like, to me, that's the easiest way to do it.
Yeah. And I feel like, just recently, I feel like there's been a lot of people that have been talking about like mental health and stuff. And the one thing that I tell people all the time is for me in general, I'm very OCD. So I control like things that make me feel better are controlling the things that I can control. And I can control the things I put in my mouth. I can control how I react on a daily basis. So my training regimen, I can control all those things. So if I do what I'm supposed to do, at the end of the day, I feel better. So knowing what I did that made me feel better is like keeping a journal like that. Yeah. That goes full circle.
You're talking about everything I put in my mouth. I'm sitting here chewing tobacco like an asshole.
I don't even want to know where that's going.
So when did you say to yourself, like, I want to compete and be a bodybuilder? Like you obviously moved into football and stuff. Like when did you say like, you know what? I want to really that quick?
That's so young. Yeah, God, what were you 20?
19.
19. Okay.
And I did my first show at 21. This is how it happened. Freshman year of football, I got redshirted, which almost 99% of freshmen do because they don't want to lose. If you're decent, they don't want you to lose a year of eligibility to play. So they redshirted me. I was like, fine. And they recruited me for running back. I was a running back and a middle linebacker. They recruited me for running back. My sophomore year, now I played football a total of 15 years. I never played anything besides linebacker and running back for 11 years. I get to college, my sophomore year now, where I should be a running back or linebacker or something. They decide to move me to a cornerback, which I never played a day in. I had to learn how to backpedal. Like every play that I've ever played, offense and defense, my first 2 steps were towards the line of scrimmage because that's what a linebacker did, and that's unless it was a pass, and that's what a running back did. Even if it was a pass play, I went forward. And I'll never forget, at the end of practice, at the end of camp, they called out names that had to stay after that practice, and those people got cut. and they called out my fucking name in the middle of fucking at the end of that practice my sophomore year. I took my fucking pads off and my helmet and chucked them on the field and turned around, walked back to the fucking locker room. And in my head, I was like, this is it. I'm a fucking full-time bodybuilder. And for 2 days, I was a full-time bodybuilder. And then 7:30, 3 days later, I got a phone call from the defensive back coach. And I'm like, his name was Winston Huggins. I go, what's up, Hugs? He goes, what are you doing today after class? I go, I don't know, man, going to the gym. Why? He's like, they want you back on the team. And I remember being like, do I want to fucking go back? Like, I remember I called my mom and I'm like, I don't know if I want to fucking do this anymore. Like, I just don't know if I want to. Like, they already fucking redshirted me once. They cut me and now they're asking me to come back. Like I'm not going to fucking play. Like, there's no point. But in my head, I was like, went to college to play football. So like, I have like that thing where like, if I'm set to do something, like I just couldn't not do it as much as I wanted to bodybuild. So I ended up fucking playing the rest of my fucking college career and then my junior year, I was 21, my first 21 going into my senior year. And I did my first show. They canceled it 9 days out. It was supposed to be in Jersey. I found a show, drove to West Virginia, and won my class, my overall novice, open. I won, and then I lost the overall to Fred Smalls, who is also an IFBB pro. And that show was a week before camp, my senior year. I go to camp. I check in. My dad drops me off. They do check-ins. I get called into the coach's office. I sit down. They fucking have printouts of pictures from my show. And they were like, they go like this. You clearly didn't follow the football program because they're like, you don't look like this following. And I was like, so they hated me. They fucking hated me. So it was just
my God.
Yeah, it sucked.
So I feel like there's a story. There was something about getting to that show. How much effort did you have to put into getting there? There's something with a car that I remember seeing.
My Bronco, I had a two-tone blue Bronco too. And I brought it to the mechanic and I go, this has to make it to West Virginia. So you got to do whatever the fuck you got to do to make this thing fucking make it to West Virginia. And it was like $1,300 worth of work. And I drove it to West Virginia and it made it and I won and I came back. And then that's literally how bodybuilding started. Like I actually went to that show with just my cousin. Like not one family member came. Like nobody knew what the fuck I was doing. Nobody knew what bodybuilding was. My family was all confused.
It's like the most expensive first show ever.
Yeah. My mom was like, you're standing on stage in your underwear. I was like, well, it's not like and I remember I got off stage.
Do you need money? Do you need me to give you money so you can buy the appropriate attire? So my next question is, how did you meet PJ? So like for me, we went to the Olympia. Like I knew PJ from like social media, but from what I understand, you guys knew each other like way before social media was like a thing. So how did you meet PJ from Blackstone?
21 years I've known that idiot.
Jesus.
I feel bad for you. I
started college in 2000. I graduated high school in 2000. And I went to Western Connecticut State University. And my freshman year, everybody was talking about this. Oh, like nobody bodybuilded back then. Like it was not like a big thing. And everybody's like, you got to meet this kid, PJ. He's like the next big thing. And I'm like, whatever. Like, I don't really give a shit. And then he used to bounce at Bennigan's. So I went to Bennigan's one night and we met. And he was like, you're the guy everybody's been telling me I need to meet. So we ended up clicking. And then he was like, one day he was like, meet me here, bring a pad and pen, and we'll go over some stuff. And I met him. I think I went back to Bennigan's like a couple days later, and I brought a pen and paper. We sat down, we talked. I wrote some stuff down in my fucking composition book. And then we started training together every day. Like I was at his grandparents' house. He had car issues back then. There were times I picked him up from his house, drove him to the gym, drove him back home. Like we were inseparable. Like we were together every fucking day, like every day. in college. Like he knew my friends, my barbers. He was in my dorm room hanging out with my buddies. Like I was like at his parents' house, at his grandparents' house. Like I knew everybody that he knew, and we just became like best friends. And he ended up moving to California shortly after I graduated, and then went from Cali to Florida, and then Blackstone Labs started. Yeah.
So do you have any like weird stories with PJ?
I have a lot of weird stories.
It's funny. PJ said the same thing about you.
The first time he met
Wait, hold on a second. Which story were you going to tell?
Wait, I want to hear what he's going to tell first.
Was your story about girls?
I feel like it.
But was your story about a girl or girls or somebody being naked?
Someone being naked.
Somebody being naked with a sock and a spray tan.
So PJ fucking we're outside in my downstairs in my parents' house in the patio, tanning ourselves with this stuff called Dioderm back in the day. So he's outside with the sock on his dick. I'm outside with the sock on my dick. We're tanning.
I wish you
like,
two
hold on, wait. I feel like this story sounds very normal to you or anybody else in bodybuilding. Everybody else in the world listening to this right now is like, what did that guy just say?
Yeah. And my mother walks home, and
I wish I had pictures to like.
No, I don't.
It was fucking. So my mom comes home from work, and she like never met PJ. And she's like, "What are you guys doing?" And we're tanning for our show. My mom's like, she goes, "Y'all are
right."
And then that was how he met my mom. And then he met my dad. We went out one night and we got fucking hammered drunk. We come home, my buddy drops us off, and my buddy's backing out of my parents' driveway. And it was like 2 a.m. So my dad woke up and my dad's bedroom window was above the driveway. As my buddy's backing out of the driveway, PJ fucking pulls his pants down. Do you know what like a fruit cup is?
Yes.
You know when like you put your ball like guys like
you talk about like, yeah, right.
Well, PJ fucking pushed his cock in between his legs and then bent over, so that you could see like his fucking schmeckle from behind. And so my dad apparently saw that. So we fucking wake up. So we go inside, right? PJ's starving. He wanted to eat ice cream, so he's eating ice cream, sitting downstairs at my parents' computer on AOL, and he's on my AOL name and he's like typing. And he's like, he didn't have a computer back then. So he's like on my AOL and I hear him like typing and I hear him go, and I'm like, what are you doing? Who are you talking to? And he's like, I don't know. He's like, I keep messaging this person and they're saying the same thing back. And he like clicked my name. So he was messaging like, yo, and then it would like automatically respond, yo, back. And it was like, what's up? And then it would say, what's up back? Because he was talking to himself. He was that drunk, he didn't realize it. And then we fucking passed out, woke up in the morning. My dad walks down the stairs and he's like, what's up, PJ? Nice to meet you. By the way, nice ass. And he was like, and my dad's like, yeah, I saw you bend over in the driveway last night.
Oh my God. Wait, so did PJ tell you that we asked him about you? Because these are like stories.
I feel like all these stories came out like an hour ago.
And like we just heard them verbatim from PJ's mouth.
Oh, yeah. So at least you know they're on fabric.
Like fruit cups. And
what I will say is there's no discrepancy. They came out from your mouth and PJ's mouth the exact same. So like nobody's making anything up.
No.
Did he tell you about the time we met 2 girls after the club and we're outside and we were like, I was making out with one, he was making out with one, and then like I kind of stopped and like backed up and the girl fucking puked like all over the fucking ground.
No.
Yeah. And then he ended up like his girlfriend at the time, like ended up showing up as he like just had stopped like touching the other girl. And she like started freaking out. She pulled up and he's like, I wasn't doing anything. And then we end up leaving. We get back to his house. I wake up in the morning and I'm like, dude, we fucked up. He's like, why? I reached in my pocket. I had the fucking girl's key to her car.
No. Shit.
He was like, what do you want to do? I go, I don't know. He's like, do you want to bring the key back? I go, no. He's like, what do you do? I said, just throw it out.
Jesus.
Yeah, we fucking.
I feel like
that's when you know you fucked up. You have to meet your one night stand the next day.
And what's this question here from a Philip from Boca Raton asking about Band-Aids? Anything about Band-Aids?
Something about Band-Aids, going out and needing Band-Aids to
Maybe
cover something up.
A female needing to wear Band-Aids when she goes out with you.
Oh,
Band-Aids to cover.
Philip from Boca was PJ.
Yeah.
Yep.
My girlfriend.
I love how slow he is to realize that Philip from Boca is
Philip from Boca wants to know about Band-Aids.
So I was in the club one night, and I was dating a girl who was a cheerleader because I played football. And she comes into the club one night, and like we all worked our area, and she like showed up, and she came up to me, and I go in the back, and she's like, "Why?" I said, "Go in the fucking back right now." Like where the cafeteria, like there was like a little place where they ate, and she's like, "What's wrong?" And I'm like, "You're staying right here." And I went to like the fucking first date thing, and I go, "You're putting Band-Aids over your nipples." I'm like, "That's insane." She's like, "What?" I go, "You're not walking around the fucking club with your nipples sticking out of your fucking shirt." I go, "It's ridiculous." I go, "So you put Band-Aids on, get the fuck out of here."
Guy, you're so PG. Nipples are so in right now.
Yeah, but like it was back then. It was at a club. Like there was always fights going on, and like I already got into scuffles because of like guys hitting on her, grabbing her ass, and I'm like, I don't need your headlights on in the fucking middle of the club. Like, you know. Now it's different. I wouldn't give a shit, but back then I was like a young punk, like 20-year-old, and I was like, "You're not showing those."
Those are my for my eyes only.
Yeah, now I'm like, show them off, whatever.
Okay, I have a good one. So, from what I was told, there was a moment in time where you were severely dehydrated, and there was a little baby bird situation.
I didn't hear this one.
Oh, you weren't listening to this before?
Nothing to do with dehydration and baby birds.
Baby bird.
So yes. So apparently PJ had to feed you.
Baby bird.
Okay, go ahead.
Yes. I was like, there was no bird involved in this.
PJ was the mother bird.
Yeah. So when I competed in 2008, when I turned pro, Dave Palumbo was doing my diet, and I was very I weighed 220. I had to suck down to 176. Like it fucking sucked. And after prejudging, I was so fucking dehydrated. And I was in Dave's room, and he looked at me, Palumbo, and he looked at me, and I just like laid, like I kneeled down on the floor and put like my head on his bed. And PJ wasn't there yet. PJ comes walking in. He's like, "Dave," he's like, "Guy's not okay." And he's like, "Dave's fine." And PJ's like, "No." And I stood up, and Dave's like, "Oh, he's not okay." And like I couldn't even fucking stand. Like I was that like I felt like I was totally fucking drunk off my ass, and I couldn't even function. And Dave goes, "You got to go get him a Powerade and put salt in it, or and he's not. You can't let him fall asleep, or you got to take him to the ER." And him and this kid Mike Liberatori, who turned pro, fucking carried me to my room, laid me on my bed, and PJ's like, "You can't fall asleep. You can't fall asleep." Leaves the room. I fucking pass out, and then he wakes me up, and he's like, "Bro, you got to wake up. You got to wake up." And I'm like, "What?" You got to drink this. And he's like, takes this fucking bottle, and he like, I sit up, and he's like, "You have to drink this." And I take a sip, and it fucking tasted like he went out into like the ocean and just bottled it up and was like, "Here." And I was like, "I can't drink. That's disgusting." He's like, "Dave said if you don't drink this, you have to go to the emergency room." So I'm like sipping this like water full of salt. Within fucking 30 minutes, it was like nothing ever happened, but I was scared to death. I was like, something's really wrong. I was scared. And he fucking, if he didn't get me that Powerade and that salt, I was done.
I've heard like a lot of Dave Palumbo stories in my time. I've even heard crazy stories about him posting pictures of people on the internet that he shouldn't be posting. Have you ever heard anything about that?
Yeah, that's definitely fucking at me.
God, you're such a good sport. I love you.
So he posted Dave Palumbo when I turned pro. When the day I turned pro, I was in his room posing another sock fucking thing. And I still do it with Chris. Like if Chris comes to my room and I just get tan tuxedo, he's like, "All right, let me see what you look like." And I go, "Dude, I just got tanned. I'm not putting trunks on." Like and he's like, "I don't give a fuck." So I have a sock on because I don't want to fuck my tan up just to put trunks on. Like it's.
Baby, I don't think you've ever put a sock on.
I have ankle socks. That's all I got.
Should we do this for the
That's all I
vlog?
got.
Should this be an activity for the vlog?
I'm not doing that.
Okay.
Make cock socks with fucking Chris Graham. Chris Graham special.
With a beard.
Yeah.
Beard.
Like
Bearded socks.
Yeah.
Yes.
A little handlebar.
Yes, exactly.
And what the fuck was I? I don't even know what we were talking about.
The sock
Dave Palumbo.
Dave Palumbo.
Photos.
Dave was like asking me to hit poses, so he's like hit a back double bicep, and I hit a back double bicep, but I looked like I was naked because you couldn't see my sock because I was like from behind, and he's like, "Come here and look at this, it looks crazy." So he shows it to me on his phone because he had like a regular phone, and I'm like, "Oh my god!" I was like, "I didn't even realize it looked like that." He's like, "You look crazy," and that's all he said. Well, then some fucking how after the show, I go to Google and I go to Google pictures from the show, and I type in Guy Cisternino in Google. And the fucking first thing that it comes up, Guy Cisternino naked. And I was like, click. Back
That's
double
how you know
bicep.
you've arrived.
Back double bicep. My ass was shredded. You could pretty much see my asshole. That's how peeled my glutes were. People are like, what's wrong with his ass? Why can't you see his dick from behind? Yeah, and I'm like, so I had to like contact the fucking administrator from the site. And I'm like,
Hashtag socks.
ugh. I'm like, you got to take this down. I'm please, like, this is gonna affect me again. And the guy actually took it down, and it never got seen again. But I was like, Jesus Christ, like that would have sucked.
Right, it's probably never been seen again. I'm sure I could maybe Google it.
I'm sure you type in Guy Cisternino naked, it's probably gonna pop up somewhere.
All right, let's get
only a
done
butt
beating
shot.
him
It's not
up.
like-
I
it's
feel
not like
bad.
weird- It's not like the weird PJ photos.
Yeah. So so these stories were brought to you by Philip Braun, so you could take that out on him, not us.
Yep. Yeah. But you've been such a good sport, and I love you for it.
Let's get back on track right now. So, like, a lot of people that watch the channel want to know about like working out. Obviously, a lot of people that watch this channel want to get fit and everything. How would you? Because I know you work out a little bit differently, I think, than most bodybuilders. At least that's what I hear from like PJ and stuff.
Yeah.
How would you describe how you work out now, and maybe back then when you were like, started bodybuilding stuff? How is that different than what most bodybuilders, how they work out now?
It's funny you said this because I actually just talked about this in an interview for Gas. This is the difference with the way I train and the way kids train these days. Is that back when I was working out, I had a goal in mind, and that goal was to be the best bodybuilder that I could. That didn't include the phone. The problem is that these kids want to become or want to be in my shoes or Branch's shoes or Jay's shoes or Ronnie's shoes. And they want to do that before doing the necessary things in the gym to get them to that level. So instead of just going into the gym and putting 110% into the gym, they're so worried about how the set looks on film, how this looks, if the angle's good, that they're not putting their effort into training. They're putting more effort into social media. And I feel like if people that are trying to become successful in the sport put their fucking phone away, and when they become good enough and successful to be filmed, they will be filmed just as much as anybody else. But you have these little, like the kids, for example, like we talked about today, like 150 pounds, like doing leg press with like 3 plates and like causing a huge scene and like cameras all over the place. And like, that's where that whole, little, fracas started. But it's like, you're filming what? Like, who are you filming for? Who is your audience? If you never have any accolades, you never accomplish anything, like, I get you want to become something and start, but it starts with the gym, not with the phone. And I think the phone distracts a lot of people from the task at hand. And I think I learned from a very young age by training with Branch early on in my career that, like, when you go into the gym, it's about the fucking gym and that's it. And these kids walk into the gym with like an entire like camera crew, and it's not training. It's they're more people would be better at bodybuilding if they actually loved working out and bodybuilding was a byproduct of it rather than working out just to be a bodybuilder. Like, my passion isn't being on stage, stand up, posing. My passion is being in the fucking gym and training hard. Like, I don't give a fuck about that other stuff. That's just there as like,
that's a bonus
byproduct. Like, I would be doing this shit whether I was on stage or not. A lot of these kids though don't have that attitude, and I think that's where it differs.
Yeah. And what I will say is, and I thought about this earlier today, we were in the gym and I'd even shared this with Kristen yet, was a lot of people want to be where you're at, or they want to be where Kristen's at. But I part of me thinks that like, you've got to be a little bit like messed up in the head to get there. And what I mean is like, it's not just anybody can say, you know what, I'm going to go be a bodybuilder, and they do what you do. Or I'm going to go ahead and be like a strongman athlete and do what Kristen does. You've got to, like, I think there's a part of you that has to be a little bit messed up, because like if I try to explain to somebody like what Kristen does in the gym, like I can't do that. Like I literally can't do that. You know, I'm like, there's periods where it'll be years on end of 4 hours a day in the gym working out. And I'm like, it's not like fun. It's not like I'm going to go to the gym today for an hour. Yeah. It's like, I'm going to go to the gym and work for 4 to 5 hours. Like maybe I'll go for 2 hours today. I'll come home, I'll eat, I'll do a couple other things, and I'm going to go back, and it's going to be 2 hours of lifting, 2 hours, another hour of accessory work. By the time you're done, I'm like, it's a 5-hour day in the gym. And I'm like, you've got to be a little sadistic in the head to do that. Like it doesn't, it's not a normal person to do that.
I tell people, you can't see somebody like Kristen, me, Branch, Dorian, Ronnie, Jose, Flex Lewis. You can't see guys like that and think, oh, they're normal. Nobody that goes into the gym that trains like that and can lift that amount of weight, they have to have something up here that's not really wired right to switch on like that, to be able, like, there's not a lot of people that can go into the gym and not give a flying fuck who's around. Like, I learned that from Branch. Like, I am who I am in the gym. I'll talk to myself. I'll curse. Because if that's what I have to do to get the job done. But so many people are worried about who's around them and what they're doing and who's paying attention, that they try to change who they are in the gym, and it affects their workout. I go to the gym and I don't even know. I couldn't tell you who's in the gym, who's around me, I'm there for one reason, and that's to fucking attack the weights. And that's my job. Yeah. And that's plain and simple. That's what
and that was one of the things, like, before we moved from Jersey to South Carolina, I was kind of like, I always felt like disappointed. I was like, one of the things that I wanted to see it, and I take myself as an outsider, like looking in, and I was like, I always wanted to see like Kristen work out with you. I was like, you know, I watch Guy, and I'm like looking at like your work ethic, and this was even before Blackstone. No. I think you both have a very like similar mindset in the way you are in the gym. I think there's a lot of people who like to work out and like to be somewhat fit and post about it on Instagram. And then there's people who like want to work out because they actually like it. And then they also film some of it on the side. But there's a different type of
person that would die under a bar.
And I would love to see like,
and I think we're like,
I would love to me personally, I would love to see like you and Kristen on like a leg day, and like you put her through a leg day or her vice versa. And like, to see how you guys actually compare. And I'm like, I think it would be very like awesome to see two worlds collide. And I think it'd be actually pretty cool to see.
I'm sure that's going to happen sooner than later.
I'm sure.
But I also don't think that many people.
Philip may have something under his sleeve,
but I don't think many people could compare to that. I don't think there's many. There's many guys that could keep up with her, and I don't think there's many girls that keep up with you, or guys to keep up with you. Like, I think it's a weird, somewhat sick human. I think you're a sick human.
I don't necessarily think that we're sick. I think that there's a certain passion, and there's a certain level of not caving into bullshit. This hurts. Yep. Like it fucking hurts, and that's okay. And I'm going to push through, and I'm going to be better for it. And I think we're capable of that. So that's what brings us to the next level.
Oh, I tell people, a lot of people don't know what training hard is until they actually train hard. Like, I hear so many people go, I train so hard. A couple months ago, I had like an influx of like kids from Jersey. Like, hey, can I train with you? I want to train with you. And my answer is always just show up. Pick a day and show up. Like, I don't need money. Just show up. I had a kid that front squatted 495, like strong. He was like a 20-year-old kid, 250 pounds. We did back. At the end of the first back exercise, he was throwing up in a fucking garbage, laid out in the middle of the gym.
Jesus.
I trained legs twice with two different guys, didn't make it through the workout, puking the brains out. And I'm like, these are people that reach out to me thinking that they can actually train with me and that
they can hang.
Like, they were like, oh, you're training legs today? And I'm like, that's where you guys got it wrong. Because when I was coming up, and Branch was like, oh, we got legs today, I was fucking scared. Because I knew that this was going to fucking suck. These kids come to me and they're like, hey, let's train legs like it's going to be a fucking carnival ride. I'm like, you guys are crazy.
That's your biggest muscle group.
Yeah. It's also like, in a way disrespectful. And I don't mean that like negatively, but for like a random 20-year-old to think he can like step, and I'll call it a ring, like step in the ring and hang with somebody that does what I do every single day. Like you got to have a little, like, can you imagine like a girl being like, hey, I want to train, I don't know, whatever, like how you train it, like your strongest exercise. And they just got into fucking working out. You're like, this person thinks they can hang with me on this day? Like, seriously?
I've said that like with guys, like we get guys that are like, I want to like, you know, if it's CrossFit strongman, like I want to compete with the guys. And I'll say to them, like, I'm like, compete against with just not yourself. Compete with, work out with Kristen. And I'm like, if you can't hang with Kristen and you're a guy, and I'm like, if you can't hang with Kristen, who's a female, you're not going to compete with the men. So I'm like, you're not going to be able to hang with her. And she's one of the top females. So I'm like, if you can't work out with her,
I'm like, I wouldn't be able to hang with some of the shit she does.
Yeah, no, it's very, like I said, there's a very elite few people who are at the level that you're at, that Kristen's at, that all these top athletes are at. And I'm like, it's not like you don't decide to do that. It takes a very crazy type of person.
Will Smith said something in a motivational speech once, and he said the difference between me and everybody else, and he used the analogy about getting on a treadmill. He goes, if we get on the treadmill together, he goes, you're getting off first, or I'm going to die. He goes, that's how it is. He goes, if we get on the treadmill together, you're going to get off first, or I'm going to die before I get off this.
That's how I look at your treadmill when you're on the treadmill next to me. Is that weird? I look at everybody around me and I'm like, I will crush you. Everybody. I don't care. I will pull on the rower harder. I will walk at a higher incline.
I thought you just meant me personally.
No, like anybody. Right. No, like in general. Anybody that's around me on any kind of equipment that is numbered in some way, shape, or form that we can challenge each other. I will be at a higher interval, higher incline, higher whatever. And at the end of the day, I'm gonna outlive you.
Yeah.
All right.
Yep.
Like I said,
if I'm in the gym and I'm like,
I feel like that's normal. Is that not normal?
No,
I feel like
because
that's savage.
If I'm in the gym and like I'm training chest and like somebody's like, let's say I'm doing like incline and somebody's doing incline next to me, I'll like in my head I'm like, pick a weight, because whatever weight you pick, I'm picking at least 3 pounds up here. just so you know who's in control of this gym. It's so bad, but it kind of makes it fun. It's like, okay, you're using pretty heavy weight. I'm going to show you what heavy weight is.
You show up.
Like, who rules the gym?
So I have a funny one, maybe funny. I don't really know. So sex.
Oh, okay. I see where this is going.
You see where this is going.
Yeah.
Versus testosterone. Okay. Versus testosterone. So I was on a team. So remember now, I'm in CrossFit, strongman, that kind of stuff.
Like, wait, hold on. Not actual, like, in-bedroom sex. You're talking about, like, male.
No.
Like,
no.
Well, yes, definitely
in-bedroom sex.
So I want to know, do you think that having sex in general, like having intercourse, has an effect on your top testosterone levels?
And the reason she's asking this is when she competed in CrossFit, she was on a team of men and women. And the guy,
as you talk, I'm gonna pee, but I'm gonna be listening. But go ahead.
Okay.
On this podcast.
Yeah. I literally am like due for a pee break in a second. So the guys on her team would not have sex with their girlfriends because they told me that their testosterone levels would drop before they competed. And when I tried to pry into it more and more, I said, so is it the sex that's the problem? And they said, no, sometimes we will have sex, but we won't finish. We won't climax. As a guy, we're not going to climax because that's what brings it down. So they would have intercourse with their girlfriends.
To an extent.
But they would not finish. They would not climax, and they would stop. And then they would go to sleep and compete the next day because they felt that kept their testosterone levels peaked and they would perform at their best. So they would have sex. They would not climax.
Right. But we, however, continued to have sex throughout.
Oh, yeah. I wasn't competing in anything.
I was competing, but that I felt like it didn't
So the guys on her
affect
team
me.
would have sex periodically.
The girls continued to have sex, but the
Kristen's
men
gonna love
felt
my
there was.
when you guys are done. You're gonna love this. Keep going.
Yeah. So
I
that's
can't
it.
wait.
So they would have sex, but not the guys would not finish because they were afraid it would bring their testosterone
So the
levels down.
ultimate question is: do you think that having intercourse affects your testosterone levels?
I'll say this: in college, we always had a rule like you don't fuck it before the football games. Like that was like a college thing. But I'll say this: somebody that fucks and intentionally doesn't finish is crazier than the person that me and you are who go to the gym. Because if I get into fucking bed and I start fucking around, if I don't finish, that means either there was an emergency or somebody fucking killed me. Because there's no way I'm getting all fucking gung-ho and riled up and I'm going to fucking pull the e-brake short. Like, there's no way that's happening.
Right? That's
Not
what I'm
a chance.
saying.
Not a chance. I have fucked before a bodybuilding show. I have fucked in between prejudging and a night show. If I want to have sex, I will have sex in the middle of a fucking street. I don't care. Like, it doesn't matter.
So completely unrelated to your levels of testosterone in your body.
If I'm like whatever, like with somebody and I want sex, like I don't care what is happening. I don't care if I'm competing. I don't care if I'm at a wedding, funeral. Like if I need to have fucking sex, we're having sex. We're finding a place to have sex.
And we're going all the way.
To be clear, we're not doctors. But
However,
from personal experience.
For personal
But
experience,
you're going all the way.
I have one shows having sex the day before and during. I think it would be less weird if they just didn't have sex. To say, yeah, I got all turned on, fucked my chick for 10 minutes and stopped right before I came.
And that's what they did.
I'm like, in my head, I'm like, you're a serial killer.
That's what I said.
Because that's crazy.
That's exactly.
Yeah.
That's insane.
I'd rather be a little bit less of an
I feel like I
athlete.
should say I'm so sorry to the girls that are involved in the situation.
Right, like I should buy them dinner. Yeah. I don't even know.
Well, I mean, are the girls getting off?
It didn't seem that way.
I doubt it. I highly doubt it.
Listen, if you need if you can't even get your girl off, then maybe you just need to find a new guy.
All right, so I have a question for the guys that want to get big that are watching this. What's like your diet like?
When I'm off season or when I'm trying to bulk?
Yeah, I would say like to be your size, to maintain or bulking. Like, you know, I watch like the Arnold and it's like you have to eat like 72 eggs a day, followed by 4 pounds of bacon. I mean, is it really that intense? Like, are you shoveling food into an uncomfortable level into your body?
I don't, because now people will agree. I don't think that's healthy. I don't think shoveling food into your body when your body doesn't want it is healthy. So some people are like, well, that's why you're not big. And I'm like, I choose to not walk around feeling sick all day. Like,
I'm sorry, are you not big?
I don't think I'm big.
What do you, all right, so before you answer this fully, what do you walk around at, like weight wise versus what's your height also? Height and weight for people that don't know you.
And I'm like off season, I'm in like the 230s.
Okay.
And you cut to 212, right? That's your weight class?
Yeah, I usually compete like 207, 208.
Okay.
So I feel like that's still big.
You know what?
It's not heavyweight, but like it's like 212 is like middleweight, right?
No, 212 in amateur would actually be heavyweight, because heavyweight's heavyweight 198. And
so you're still a big dude.
But I mean, I guess when you listen, like you, when you compete with the best in the world, you judge yourself based off the best in the world. So to me, like I'm good. I've won 7 shows. Like I've been to the Olympia 7 times, but like I look at some of those guys, and I'm like, man, those guys are fucking freaks. Like I don't look like that. You know?
It's because you're a psycho. You're like all up in here.
No, a psycho is somebody that has sex and doesn't finish. I'm not that guy. That's not me. Yeah.
So what do you like shoveling down your gullet on a daily?
In the off season, it's like 5 whole eggs in the morning. I'll do like a half a cup of cream of rice, some berries, like 2 pieces of toast, with some jelly, and then I'll do chicken. Usually like 8 ounces of chicken, 2 cups of rice. Then I'll go to the gym, like probably around 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock. I drink 30. Not the small ones, but like even now when I'm dieting, I drink one of the like pretty big size Gatorades when I train. Not the zeros, like the ones with sugar in it. And then I do that intro workout. Post workout, I have 2 scoops of isolation. I have the 2 scoops of the Blackstone glutamine, and then I do a scoop of creatine and 2 bananas, and then I do another chicken and 2 cups of rice, and then I'll do about 8 ounces of steak and another cup of rice, and then literally at night I fucking eat whatever the fuck I want every day. Like
really?
I'll literally
Don't tell him that.
But you know what's crazy? The older I've gotten, I never used to do that. The past 2 years, if I don't eat something shitty every day, my weight will not go up and I will fucking like I stopped eating a cheat meal for a week every day. No, it was 1 or 2 weeks. I was like, let me just stop eating a shitty meal every day and just pull back and see what happens. I went from 230, 228 to fucking 213 like that. Just by pulling out that shitty meal and adding a clean meal in. Like I have to go to like I got to get like 2 burgers and a fry, or I'll get like a pizza and some ice cream, or like I haven't had McDonald's since fucking I was in college with PJ. I go to McDonald's, I'll go to fucking Sonic, I'll go to Chick-fil-A all the time.
He's like Joe.
It's Joe Reiser.
Yeah.
He's a fucking.
He would like come over and we'd be like, we ate so clean today. He's like, I'm on my way to Chick-fil-A, or I'm on my way to like Five Guys.
Five Guys, McDonald's.
And I'm like, you're an asshole.
He's worse than me. He fucking eats multiple cheat meals a day, but he like tries to hide it with his like 3 clean ones.
Right.
He'll always like carries like 3 clean ones around, like he's a bodybuilder, but like in behind closed doors, like fucking at McDonald's drive-thrus and shit.
Yeah, but he can. He's young. He's super young.
Yeah.
I'm like, I drive by a McDonald's on my way home and I gain 3 pounds. I'm like, I didn't even stop in it.
I used to be like that. I was eating shit every day, and I had abs. I was like, I don't know why this is happening to me at 39 years old. Because I used to be like you, like I would eat off the diet, and I would look like my face would get fat. My stomach would look like shit. And now I'm like, man, I got to eat all this stuff just to gain some fucking weight. That's why dieting for me is so easy, because I hate to eat. When I'm done bodybuilding, straight intermittent fasting. I'm not eating all day. I'm not eating from the time I wake up until like 8 o'clock at night, and then I'll eat for a couple hours and then go to bed. Because I have zero. I can literally train the way I train on nothing.
Wow.
And be completely fine.
That's awesome.
So from here, well, before we talk about like what's going on in the future, Olympias and stuff. How many Olympias have you competed at?
7.
And when we talk about like Olympias and stuff, Olympias, Arnold's, and everything like that, when we talk about like expos in general, where is the future at with the Olympia, the Arnold, any of the expos? Where do you see them over the next year, 2 years, 3 years? Are we going to have the Olympias back from 2 years ago, the Arnold from 2 years ago? Or do you think this is becoming a way of the past?
I think you're going to. I just don't think you're going to see him in Columbus. I don't think the Arnold's ever going to be in Columbus again. And I think the Olympia, at least for the next couple of years, is going to be, I don't want to say like a Republican state. Now people be like, oh, you're fucking political. But like the states that are fully functioning and open, like Texas, like fucking Arizona, like Florida, I think that's why a lot of the shows are being moved to those states, because the laws are a lot more lenient with this COVID shit. And I think in order for the bodybuilding industry to survive, you need those things. You need those interactions with those fans. Like that is what makes bodybuilding what it is. So I don't think those expos, maybe this year they're not going to be as crazy as they were, but I think by 2022, especially with like Athleticon coming with The Rock and shit, like that's the year that they're saying like that's going to get put on. I don't see the expos being a big deal, besides maybe a little bit this year, but I think by next year, I think we should be back to a fully functioning fucking world. I at least hope so.
Yeah.
Amen.
I know like the Arnold was, I think, one of my favorites. I like the Olympia. The Arnold to me was one of the fun ones.
As an athlete, I think the Arnold was my favorite. Olympia's fun. Like, it's just fun. It's so fun. But as an athlete, the Arnold is like the mecca to me. And I'm not a bodybuilder.
I think if you're into bodybuilding, the Olympia was probably like the thing to do. But like the Arnold kind of pulls in everything. It pulls in every type of sport. Like you could be a professional foosball player.
Yeah.
Or like a professional cornhole player or arm wrestler. You go to the Arnold. Like the Arnold is everything. And so I think it's a lot of fun, but it's like my fear is that people won't experience what it used to be.
I'm really good at cornhole though.
I'll take you right now. I'll take all your money.
I got a New York Giants cornhole set in my fucking garage.
Hell yeah!
I'll take your money. I'll take her money. You just
became my favorite.
We might have to go back to Jersey one of these days.
I'm as redneck as they come. I got cornhole. Do you ever play washers?
Yes.
With the fucking
the little coffee can. Yes.
Yeah, I got that. I got deer targets in my backyard. I'm like as redneckish as they come.
Yeah, we might have to go back to Jersey.
We might have to do that.
Yeah. No, the gun laws suck.
It's a little different down here.
Huh?
It's a little bit different down here. Down in South Carolina, I mean, so we moved from Jersey, just taxes. You said taxes. In Jersey, we had a small little ranch house, and we were paying like $9,000 a year in taxes. So that we moved to South Carolina. We have a bigger house. Everything's taken care of, and we pay like $1,000 a year, like $8,000 a year we saved.
Like I robbed somebody.
It's crazy.
So I have 2.2 acres, and but I live on a bigger lot. But I live like, I don't want to say in the middle of nowhere, but like if you were at my house, you'd be like, you live in Texas? Like my neighbors have 7 acres, and you hear like cows and chickens and goats, and like because that's where I like to live. So my taxes are like 10 grand, but I live on a bigger lot of land. But I live like 3 miles offset from the highway, like dead quiet, like peace and quiet. Like there's no, like you can't. The only neighbor you can see is across the street. I have trees on both sides of me. I can't see the neighbors behind me. The neighbors to my side. Like my dogs roam all over the place, and like they absolutely love it. But it's expensive. Like I could sell my house, move to Texas, and like throw half the money in the bank and get a house bigger than the one that I have. It's like,
oh yeah, for sure.
What am I doing here?
For real, it's crazy.
Sucks.
So one of the things was we want to talk about social media real quick. How big? I know social media now has to be way bigger than when you started.
It didn't even exist. It didn't. So I got my first social media account in 2012.
Wow.
My dad was on Facebook before me.
Actually, I think that's when I really started social media.
Yeah.
I know you started a YouTube channel, right? Like not long ago, right?
Within the year.
Like, so of Instagram, YouTube, all this stuff. What is do you have like a favorite? So do you run your own social media, or is that something you outsource?
No.
You do it yourself?
The only person that does anything is Joe. Will upload videos to Instagram for me. Like he handles my Instagram stuff. Or no, I'm sorry, not Instagram. YouTube.
Your YouTube?
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah, but Instagram, Twitter. I mean, Snapchat. I'm not on anymore. I mean, I'm on it, but like nobody fucking uses that. That's all me. Nobody like even like people think I have like people that do like my clothing and stuff. I do everything. Like I do.
So if you're responding to somebody in DMs on Instagram, that's all you, me. Not
all me.
Yeah,
all me. It's me either on a plane day or taking a shit. One of those two.
How big do you think that is now for like a bodybuilder, like an up and coming bodybuilder? Like when you were an up and coming bodybuilder, Instagram, social media, that wasn't a thing. So like now somebody has to face not only becoming a bodybuilder, but you've also, I would imagine, have to grow a social media to also get your name out there with every other person that wants to be a bodybuilder.
The only difference is that the judges don't care about your social media.
So if you want to make it more of a business where you're going to say like, I want sponsorships, I want to somehow get money in return from companies, I want these companies to notice me, you've got to have a social media presence, right?
You have to have a social media presence. But the one thing I ask people when they go, how do I get a sponsor? And I go, what do you bring to the table as an athlete right now? Because a lot of people are like, I want to be a sponsor. And I'm like, well, do you have a niche following? Do you do something that like not a lot of people do? Are you like incredibly strong? Are you incredibly fit? Can you do a lift? Do you have like a special talent? Like, because you can't be like a one-arm waitress and come to the table with nothing and be like, hey, sponsor me. Like, it doesn't work.
Like everybody else.
Yeah, but the problem is that I think this is where the struggle is where, like Chris said, like, how do you get there with doing the work without utilizing social media? And I think you can, but I think there's a way to do both. But I think the focal point shouldn't be on social media. It should be on the training aspect, because if you're good, like a lot of people try to be successful on social media rather than being successful on like a bodybuilding stage, if that's what we're talking about. But people don't realize that if you if let's say you don't have a lot of fans and followers and you don't do a lot on social media, but if you come to a show and you fucking wow the shit out of the audience and the judges and you win, you're going to gain a following because people are going to go, who the fuck is that? But
so true.
People want the fame before the fucking hard work is put in. And that's where I disagree. I feel like put the phone away, do the hard work. And with the hard work and your physique and doing well, sponsors are going to gravitate towards you. I never in my life reached out to a person and be like, hey, can you sponsor me? Every single sponsor I have gotten, from fucking PJ to Gasp to Choice Botanicals, to you name it, they reach out to me. I don't reach out to anybody. If you think I'm good enough or you think I'll bring you your company an ROI and you want to reach out to me, then go right ahead. But I'm not going to. There's so people mess with me like, hey, I want to be sponsored by you. I go, by what? But what do you want to be? You want to be sponsored by my fucking clothing? Like, well, I don't. Right. What do you want from me? Like, you want me to pay you to fucking like do what? You know? So I just feel like people see, and I think that a lot of times, certain ways ambassador programs are set up. It's set up to like make a lot of these guys take ambassadorships, and some ambassador programs are very good. Some of them are garbage, and some of these athletes like will just have an ambassadorship just to put their name with a company, just to say they're
100%.
You know, and the problem is that like, why don't you work for it and become an athlete rather than just being content with being an ambassador? But a lot of people are just content with saying, "Oh, I'm a Blackstone Labs ambassador," rather than be like, you know what, and I want to be an ambassador, but I'm gonna work my balls off to be a fucking athlete. Like, I don't even know one ambassador. I mean, I'm obviously newer to Blackstone, but how many ambassadors went from an ambassador to an athlete? Like, I was never an ambassador, but if I was, I'd be like, man, I want to be a fucking athlete. I'm going to bust my ass till I can be an athlete, not just an ambassador. But I think,
but that comes down to like work ethic is, you know, a lot of people have that work ethic where it's like you get into a company or you get into whatever it is, where you come into like an ambassadorship, but you come in with that drive to become like, I want to become the next thing. I want to run this company at some point. Like,
these people get
and the ability to sell too, the ability to like you say, like, as an influencer, what are you influencing? 12 people, or are you influencing thousands of people? Those are two very different things. So if you can come in and say, like, I'm influencing enough.
That's why I disagree with the filming, when it's like, you're filming for who? And then they be like, well, I'm filming because I want to get more fans. Well, you putting out content with no fans is going to get you no fans.
Right.
Because unless like a big page reposts you, or like somebody reposts you, or you have big names following you, like, you're not going to fucking really have an audience. Like, there was a joke a couple weeks ago, because I don't follow a lot of wrestling, but you know who Roman Reigns is?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, 100%.
He started following me. I knew who he was.
That's awesome.
But I was on a live feed, and these kids came on my live feed, and they were blasting me, and they're like, "You fucking don't follow Roman Reigns. He follows you. How disrespectful!" And I'm like, "Who the fuck are you talking about?" I'm like, is he a bodybuilder? Like, I didn't know, because I know him as Joe, because Flex Lewis knows him and never really referred to him as Roman Reigns. And I don't watch a lot of wrestling anymore, but I knew who he was because he's The Rock's cousin. So I get off my live feed and I go, and I was like, and I look at this guy, but I'm like, he doesn't follow me. He's got like 4.3 million followers. And I click it and I'm like, holy shit, this motherfucker follows me. So I message him, and we message back and forth. He's the coolest dude in the world. But like, I'm so detached from my social media that I didn't even fucking realize somebody that big and well-known followed me. Like, that's how much I don't pay attention to it. Like, I have text messages. I have like 75 text messages unanswered on my phone, because I'm so detached sometimes from my phone, because I just like, it just doesn't stop. And I'm like, I don't want to talk to anybody.
Yeah,
but you have to turn it off, because otherwise you're going to become like a psycho attached to your phone.
I know.
And then you lose what is actual real, like what gets you to where you are. Like, if you just suck into to Instagram, you don't follow bodybuilding. So even with her, like, you click on Instagram, all of a sudden it'll be like you have 100 new followers, and it's like, oh, that's cool, and you ignore it. But it's like, I wonder who those 100 people are. And when you do that every day, like constantly clicking on 100 new followers, it's like you don't have time to sit down and go through all of those 100 to see if one of the 100 is somebody somewhat famous or bigger than you.
But I do, like, if I meet somebody, like if I met you in a at an event or whatever, and you're like, hey, I'm Guy Cisternino, I'd be like, oh, okay, cool. Follow me, I'll follow you. And like, I would find you in my phone and we would like go back and forth. And I'd make sure that you got the attention that you deserved. But when followers are coming in and stuff like that, odds are I'm not going to be able to go through and scrap through.
When I signed with Blackstone, like, I didn't know a lot of the Blackstone athletes. So I was like, PJ, who, like, give me like a list. I want to know like who the fucking people I need to follow. And he was like, boom, 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 boom. I was like, click, 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 click. And at the time I had a girlfriend. She's like, who are all these fucking whores you're following? I'm like, relax. I'm doing it because PJ, I'm trying to follow all the fucking, she's like, you're following all these fucking whores and all these, and I'm like, I can't win.
Stop it. Put that finger down.
Wait. Is she pointing at you or you're pointing at her?
I was pointing at her.
She's pointing at me.
As far as
this is the whore. The whores that you're following.
Oh, no, I didn't say her.
It's this one.
I got some fucking,
no, Chris is saying it.
He
means it with love.
My relationships have just got, like, there have been times that I literally have been blamed for stuff, and I'm like, I can't even argue because I didn't do anything wrong, but like they in their head believe that like something, and I'm like, I don't even know what you're referring to. Sometimes Instagram can be the worst fucking thing in the world because it's like you click the wrong thing or something is interpreted the wrong way or you follow somebody or you don't check somebody's story. I've had girls literally try to base our relationship off of Instagram. Like, you haven't posted about me in a while. Like, do you not love me? And I'm like, Jesus Christ.
That doesn't sound healthy.
Yeah.
I'm just going to put it out there.
I'm like, I talk to you every day and like we see each other all the time. And you think I don't love you because I'm not posting. Like, a lot of times the girl doesn't understand that, like, if your job is to fucking like be a teacher and go to school and teach, and my job is to be on Instagram and post things for my company, they don't want to see pictures of me making out with you every day. Like, they want to see the content that they're paying me to put out. So, like, would you go to your classroom and teach them about me and you and bodybuilding? No. So why do you expect me to come on my Instagram page and like, yeah, I'll put stuff up. But like, I don't like being told what to put up. And
I've tried to explain that to like average everyday people that follow us is like, Instagram isn't necessarily real life. It's like kind of like it's a job. You post the things you have to post. There's some things you want to post and you want to show some things, but like Instagram is a job. You post the things that you have to post. You post the things that you want people to see. It's not necessarily real life, and people get confused.
It's very rare that I put my daughter on my Instagram. One, because of privacy.
I didn't even know you had a daughter. How's that?
She's 9. So for the last 9, she's the reason that I am together. We did it.
I didn't know.
We put it together.
I had 0 clip. And I think that's fucking awesome.
Yeah.
I like that. If you're friends with me on Facebook is more, I would say, more family oriented, but Instagram, like, you're very rarely, you might see her in my story, but it's very rare that she ever ends up on my Instagram. I keep that very private and it's personal. And Chris at this point has become very much a part of my YouTube, my Instagram. Like, he's very much a part of like kind of like who I am. So when I post, and he's in it, he'll even tell me like, why'd you post me? It's not going to get as many likes. And it's like, because it makes sense today.
Yeah.
If it makes sense today, then we're good.
Yeah.
But Kylie is not going to be on my Instagram. I keep her very much
like we got home tonight and it was like, I was like, hey, we got to do this podcasting. You got to go up and put yourself to bed. Just go up and go to bed. I'm like, we got this guy coming. And I try to explain to her, I'm like, we have this guy. He's a bodybuilder. I'm like, we're doing all this stuff. I'm like, just go up and go to bed real quick. We got to hurry up and like log in and do all this. And she was like, all right, good night. And she went up and went to bed.
She's super cool.
Yeah.
She thinks it's awesome.
Yeah.
People don't understand that, like, in our shoes, when we have followers, like, privacy is a luxury. Like, sometimes I just don't want people knowing every fucking thing. Like, I bought a BMW in December. And my buddies are like, why don't you post it? And I'm like, for what? Like, what am I posting my BMW for? Like, I'm not the dude to post a fucking nice car that I got. Because, listen, Some people do that. PJ posts his fucking F12 twin turbo Ferrari, and maybe if I had a Ferrari, I would post it too. But it's just I've never done stuff like that, so I'm not gonna start doing it now. Like sometimes you'll like if I'm in the garage, like on my tractor, you'll see like the blue car in the garage in the background. But like I don't post like, oh, today's such a good day. I bought myself a fucking dream car. Like for what? If it's a dream for me, I don't have to blast it to everybody else. As long as I know that I bought it with my own money and I worked for it and I have it, that's good enough for me. Like,
and we're the same way. Like we like to post, film stuff for YouTube, and like we post stuff from our house. But like we're also cognizant. Like if we're outside filming, I'm like, let's not put our house number on the side of the house.
Yes. Yep.
Like, don't put that in the videos.
Or
maybe
like
don't mention what development we're in. Exactly. We try to keep some things private, and we want to like let some people into our life, but it's like we also don't want to let you so far in.
Right.
Well, I even had I was on my tractor one day mowing my lawn, and a car like pulled up alongside my house and stopped, and I'm like,
no,
and I one thing that I do post. I love posting, like, I'm like weird. I love doing my yard work and my garden. Like, I love it. I'm obsessed with it. And I post about it all the time because as much as like I do, I'm like, man, this fucking blows. Like I get done cutting all my grass and like weed whacking and I'm like, it looks fucking gorgeous. So like, I'm weird like that. But this guy like pulled up and stopped and I'm like, maybe he's lost. So I get off my tractor and I walk over and he's like, your guy Cisternino, right? And I'm like, you gotta be fucking kidding me. And he's like, yeah, he was like, I heard you lived around here. He's like, and I thought it was you. He's like, I hope you don't mind. It's, that I stopped by and introduced myself. And I'm like, no, you're fine, man. I'm like, Jesus Christ.
I think you even posted something about, Chris Pantos squats. I don't know if you know who that is, but
he's coming here. He flies in tomorrow.
I think he won something on your Instagram, or you did like a competition. And that had something to do with like being outside and stuff, an outdoors thing.
Yeah. So that was probably, so I'm going to give you a quick rundown of my 2020 quarantine. I got COVID in March. This is all true. I got COVID in March, went to the doctor. They said I had, this was before it was like a big thing. They said I had bronchitis. About 2.5 weeks later, before it was even a thing, smell and taste, gone. My buddy actually called me and he was like, hey, do you still have your smell and your taste? And I'm like, no, dude. He goes, it's just all over the news that's like the number one sign that you have COVID. And I'm like, are you fucking serious? Go to get tested for COVID. Comes back inconclusive. That was like, it's like 4 weeks of 4 to 5 weeks of like me being sick. Then I get tested another week later. It comes back as negative. And the doctor's like, you are not negative. You are sick as fuck. So then the antibody test comes out. They're like, positive. You definitely had COVID. And it took 12 weeks for my smell and my taste to come back.
Wow.
In that time period, I ended up herniating a third disc in my back. So the doctor put me on Oxy, which I've never been on in my entire life. So I went to 4 different doctors. All 4 of them said I need to get an MRI to see what happened to my back. My insurance took 2.5 weeks to approve a fucking MRI that I pay $707 a month for my insurance. Took 2.5 weeks to fucking approve. So I got my first epidural in my back. They saw that I had a third herniation because I had 2. Now I have 3. And they did an epidural. The first epidural didn't work. So the doctor was like, I was the first 2 weeks of taking oxys, they gave me like 15 milligrams. So I was taking like 3 to 4 a day because I couldn't even stand up. Like I was in severe pain. But after the first epidural, he gave me 30 milligram tabs and was like, just, take, you don't have to take as many. I was taking 1 tab a day of an oxy up to my second epidural. And my second epidural happened on a Tuesday. Monday, I was like done taking oxy. Tuesday, got an epidural. Wednesday, got up in the morning, was going to the dentist to get my teeth cleaned, thinking nothing of the sort because I thought people get addicted to oxy when they abuse it. I'm driving to the dentist office to go get my teeth cleaned in an all-out fucking like an heroin like withdrawal for over a week. Like,
wow.
In my house, didn't leave. Parents had to come take care of my dogs. I have videos of me fucking leaning over my sink, just pouring fucking sweat, like freezing cold, taking cold showers, hot baths, cold showers, putting on hoodies, taking off. It was the worst experience of my life. During that time, when I was taking the oxy, I ended up also getting me and my girlfriend at the time, we were in my driveway and it was not a serious argument, but we were arguing. and she like went to go give me something out the window, and I was like, I don't fucking want it, and she like dropped it. So she dropped it on the ground and like turned around to go in reverse and didn't see that I bent over to pick it up. Put her car in reverse, ran over my fucking ankle, and fucking I went to the ground, grabbed her. She had a BMW, grabbed her side view mirror, broke the mirror as I went down. She stopped as I screamed on top of my ankle, like she stopped the car when she realized, and then went forward and then got my ankle, drove myself to the ER. The doctor was like, my hand was the size of a fucking catcher's mitt. My ankle had legit fucking tire marks in it. The doctor was like, you definitely broke something. I ended up not breaking anything. The fucking 2 weeks later, I'm outside gardening, and I garden when I do my yard work, I throw on a pair of shorts, no shirt, socks, boots, go outside, do my thing. No underwear on, just fucking free ball and shorts. So up until this time I'm in the garden, I have been stung last summer. It was at that time 4 fucking times. I haven't been stung in like 30 years, but somehow last summer I got stung 4 times. I'm in the garden and I'm weed whacking and mowing because my garden is all gated. So I have to use a push mower inside the garden because my tractor doesn't fit. So I weed whack and after I weed whack, I'm pushing the push mower and I get stung in the back of my calf. Oh, and by the way, after I had COVID, I got a blood clot in my right calf. And then after I got the blood clot in my right calf, I got cellulitis in my left calf. That was all in May. And then the oxy thing happened. And then I'm in my garden. I get stung in the calf. And I'm like, motherfucker. I go inside. I like, get a drink. My fucking calf's all swollen. I'm trying to get the stinger out. And I'm like, all right, I got to finish fucking the grass. So I wait like 10 minutes, go back outside. I'm on the last bay of tomato plants. And I'm watering the plants and picking tomatoes at the same time. And I had no idea, but I was like squatting down, watering, making sure I get the base of the plants. And I was leaning over a hornet's nest and didn't see it. Like,
no,
it was in the ground, right where the bay met the ground. It was like they build those like little mud nests.
We've had them in Jersey.
Yep. And I fucking stood up and went to go turn around to walk away. And I got stung on the right ass cheek. And I got stung. I'm not even kidding. If you can see this little fucking cap, if that's where I pee out of, the fucking thing stung me on the tip of my dick right next to where I pee. And I fucking grabbed my dick so hard.
Oh my God.
Went into complete panic. Ran. The video is me running into my garage. I get into my garage. By the time I'm in my garage, I am fucking ass naked. Everything is off. My shirt's off. My clothes are off. Dick swinging. I look down at my dick, and the fucking head of my dick was like the size of it was like this. And I'm like, oh my God. So I start Googling what to do if you get stung in the dick by a bee. Google it now if you think I'm lying. All you'll find is how people actually go to places and they pay to get stung in the dick, because getting stung in the dick by a bee can apparently permanently enlarge your cock. Okay. I'm looking at my dick that looked like Sloth's face from Goonies. And I'm like, what the fuck do I do? So I fucking go inside. I get a Solo cup, fill it with ice, fill it with water, go in my shower, and just like teabag the fucking the red Solo cup.
Oh my God, I'm crying.
And then I took some Benadryl and I called my aunt, who's a doctor, and I'm like, Aunt Laura, I go, I just got stung in the dick by a bee. I go, I don't know what to do. She's like, is it swollen? I was like, oh, it's swollen. And she's like, can you pee? And I was like, I honestly haven't tried. So I went to go pee, and it literally like went to come out. It just like went hard left because it was so swollen. So then I started popping Benadryl and icing it, and it finally went down. And like 5 days later, I'm laying in a tub, and I had like a black dot on the tip of my dick, which was the stinger. So I'm laying in the fucking tub 5 days later, squeezing my fucking head of my dick to get the stinger out, and finally got the stinger out. And it was like this little black fucking like stinger that I squeezed out. But the funniest part was that, did you ever get stung by a bee? Not in the dick.
Yeah.
In general, yes.
You know when you get stung, like if they sting you, the first thing you do is like you squeeze it and you don't want to let go. I grabbed my dick so hard and was so scared to let go of my grip because I was afraid I was going to get stung again that I burst all the blood vessels in my shaft. It was all speckled red from squeezing it so hard. So like I blew the blood vessels, my dick's swollen, I got a stinger in it. I'm like, is this real life? Like, can this really happen to somebody?
And I think what's best is I think this is on video, right? Like you running through your yard.
Me running through my fucking yard into my garage. You don't see me get stung, but you see me running with my hand on my dick like this.
Because I remember I think you posted the video, and then you posted it was like a giveaway thing or a contest, and you're like, "Where do you think I got stung?"
No, I said, guess what you think happened and where. And Chris and and Chris Pantano goes, "You got," because everybody's like, "You got stung by me, you got stung by me," but nobody said. And Chris goes, "You got stung in the dick." Chris goes, "You got stung on the tip of the dick by a bee." And I texted him and I go, "Did I tell you what happened?" And he's like, "No, I just guessed it." I go, "You guessed it to the fucking T, dude." I go, because that motherfucker stung me direct hit. Like if he was a centimeter over, he would his stinger would be in my fucking pee hole. Like
he knew what he was doing.
Oh, he was like, "I'm gonna get this motherfucker." Yeah. But let me tell you something. Out of all that happened to me, even the oxy shit, that 2 hours of getting stung, I remember looking at the knife going, I might just cut my dick off. Because it hurt that fucking bad, dude. I can't, I'm sure you've been smacked in the dick and nothing. The withdrawal from the oxy, the COVID, the getting hit, the car, nothing top. Pain level, getting stung in the dick by a hornet. That was by far the worst experience of my life. Because I was like, is my dick ever gonna ever look the same again?
Oh my God.
If my dick stays like this,
why am I so unfortunate?
I'm like, no, if a girl pulls down my pants, she's gonna go, "Oh, hell no." I'm like, is this gonna go back to normal?
Oh my God. I don't think anything right now tonight can top that.
No, I think you win.
I think that ends. Yeah, you win tonight.
PJ didn't even give us that one.
Yeah.
Oh, he didn't?
No, that I just remembered
that was straight from your lips.
When you said gardening, all of a sudden I remembered back to that Chris Panto squad. I remember he commented, and I was like, "Oh yeah, I remember something about the dick and this hornet or something."
I don't even remember that.
I'm very transparent, so when at the time it wasn't funny, but thinking about it now, it's funny. But
now it's funny.
In the moment, when I told I forget who I told. I think I told my brothers, and I go, "Dude, honestly, it's not fucking." I go, "Don't let right now." I go, "Right now's not time to laugh." I go, "It's not funny." I go, "It's not fucking funny right now. We can laugh tomorrow when it's over, but right now I'm not in a laughing mood."
So we're good to laugh now.
Yeah,
now we're okay.
But
because I'm crying.
Yeah, I was.
Yeah.
I needed that laugh. That was a good one.
So
I think before we wrap this up, where are you headed to in the next
what's next for Guy Cisternino?
Yeah, where are we headed to?
I'm in Dallas until Saturday, and then I'm home on Saturday because I have a wedding to go to on Sunday, which is the 16th, and then the 21st I'm back to Houston again for Choice Botanicals for a seminar and a training with the pros with Patrick Moore, and then I think I'm in Florida in June for something with Flex Appeal Miami with PJ, and then I compete in July. I was supposed to compete in Colombia in July 9th, but that place looks like it's about to go up in fucking flames. So I'm really not sure what's going on over there. So I'll end up doing a show sometime either early or late July to try to qualify for Olympia.
Cool. Yeah. Awesome.
Olympia 2021 or is that 2022?
That
21.
That would be 2021. Yeah.
21. Okay. Yeah. So that'll be number 7.
Number 8.
8. Number 8.
I got a little more gas left in the tank. I don't know how
Hell
much.
Yeah, let's do it.
I got a little left. I got a couple more runs in me until I call it a day.
Any companies or anything you want to shout out? Anything for yourself? You want to shout out for yourself?
You guys could. My Instagram and all my social media is Guy Cisternino or GuyCisternino.com. You guys all know Blackstone Labs, Gas Better Bodies, Choice Botanicals, Cardillo Weight Belts is always taking care of me. Made to Macro. Alexis is fucking awesome. She kills it. If you guys haven't tried my cookie dealer cookies, you got it. Those have been my go-to cheap.
What is it?
Juan and Karen Morel, they're my cookie dealer cookies. You guys haven't seen everybody posting the cookies?
We haven't tried it yet. No,
my cookie dealer cookies. We'll have to look.
No,
are you serious?
Not yet.
Just go to Instagram. They literally in a year went from making cookies in one of our mutual friends' bakeries to literally being one of the fastest growing companies I think in the fucking world.
Really?
Dude, bro.
I'll order them.
They have a store.
I love cookies.
Oh, they have.
Okay, I think I found it online, so I'm gonna order.
So you can't order until they bake.
What?
What?
You follow them on Instagram. They do drops,
Okay.
so they treat it like they kind of have like they call them like drops and like they kind of make it like almost like drug. They not drug dealer, but the way that they act, it's like.
Well, I just saw their email was like cartel at.
Yes.
So immediately I was thinking like drug related.
So that they do it like that because what they do is they have like these like they deliver to Long Island in cars. So they have like these like black Benz GLEs. They're the best cookies I've ever had.
I have a big sweet tooth, so there's that.
Anything else that you want to shout out before we go for tonight?
Nah, man, I had a good time. This was some funny fucking conversations.
Yeah, I had a lot of fun
this
tonight
is
too.
fun for sure.
I appreciate taking like another hour out of your night tonight.
Yeah, I know it was a big day for you, traveling and
Nah.
the gym and all that good stuff.
Nah, it's part of the fucking gig. I'd do it again if you guys want. Next time I'll be drinking too.
Hope so.
Hopefully next time it's like in a gym and we could actually do like a little bit of like weight
Yeah.
training or
I
something.
think ask PJ. I know I'm there in June. Find out when I'm there. Let's try to set up when I'm there in June. You guys come down.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll
definitely.
come even if regardless.
We're really like not that far.
I
Realistically,
mean, I'm in Jersey
from
too, and I got
Florida.
3 extra bedrooms. So if you guys ever want to take a trip up, I got plenty of room.
Awesome. I appreciate that.
You guys are awesome.
Awesome.
For sure. Let's
Yeah.
do it.
All right.
Well,
All right, guys.
again, thank you so much for coming
Thank
on
you.
tonight. I really appreciate it. I know you're
anytime.
traveling, you're busy, so we'll link all your info in the description down below so people can follow you that way too as well for anybody that perhaps doesn't follow you already. So
I appreciate
I think that's pretty much it.
Yeah, absolutely.
So
You guys
we'll let
are
you
awesome.
log out. We'll let you get some sleep. Enjoy Texas and have fun tonight.
All right, if you
We
do anything
appreciate
fun
you.
tonight, make sure you always finish the job.
Always.
Don't
Yeah,
stop short.
for sure.
Don't-
Never stop short. If anybody
Never
learns
stop
anything
short.
tonight, do not stop short.
Thank you, guys.
All right,
Love you
be
guys.
good. Love you guys.
Have a good night.
Good
good.
night. But this was a lot of fun. Hope you guys had fun with us, and we will see you guys next time.
Peace out, everybody.